All right, welcome to the University of Maine, and thank you for joining us. I'm Chef Rob Dumas, and I'm joined here today by Dr. Colt Knight, and we are doing a series of videos on taking chicken to market forms. We're using some lovely chickens that have been pasture raised at Witter Farm here by the students in the Animal and Veterinary Science program, and we're going to take these to a variety of different cuts in the next few videos. Chef Rob Dumas here with Dr. Colt Knight in our video series for cutting up whole chickens. We've got a lovely pasture bird right here, and we're going to break this down to a few different market forms. One of the cuts to be a classic culinary cut called a supreme or a Statler, where we will leave the drum attached to the breast for a really nice center of the plate presentation. So we're going to get started by creating a little bit of space between the breasts and the thighs. We're going to do that by kind of massaging the skin a little bit, helping it loosen up. We're going to take our boning knife. We're going to make a series of shallow cuts, staying close to the thigh, but only cutting through the skin. We want to go all the way down and all the way through. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side, creating space and opening that up. Now that we've created that space, we're going to pop the thigh joint, and you'll feel it loosen up. You might even see it pop out. And now we're going to lift the chicken up. We're going to follow along the backbone, staying as close to the backbone as possible to leave the meat on the thigh and not on the carcass. When you get to the socket joint, stop, give it a little bit of a tug, and you'll remove the entire oyster on your leg quarter. That's the bite that everybody will fight over. So we'll put that right there, and we'll repeat the process with our other leg quarter on this side. Again, working until you get into that socket, give it a little tug, and then cut away the skin. And again, you've got that lovely oyster attached to the thigh. So now we're back at our board here. We've got just our chicken breasts and our wings. So with those wings there to provide us a little bit of stability, we're going to go ahead and remove the breasts from the carcass, and we'll have some nice boneless breasts. I'm going to start by cutting off some of this excess neck skin, but we're going to hold on to that because it's wonderful rendered down for schmaltz. So we're going to start by making a cut along the keel bone. So you can see this natural line here. We're going to use our knife, and we're going to make a shallow cut all the way through the skin across the entire keel bone. You want to make sure you completely sever the skin, or it will get hung up later on, and you don't ever want to tear your skin because you'll pull it off the breast. So we've got a nice clean line. Now I'm going to work along the inside towards myself, making a series of shallow cuts, creating a little bit of space between the carcass and my fingers here. And we're going to work to leave as little meat on the carcass as possible, and we're going to try to keep as much of it on the breast, folding it away as we go. Now you'll see a line here where the tendon connects. We're going to pass through that, and we're going to pass right through this joint, removing the breast from the carcass. Again, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to revisit that in a minute to finish trimming that up the rest of the way. But I like to keep my board nice and clear so that I don't have any, I'm not crowded and I don't have any accidents while I'm cutting. Okay, so you can see pretty nice, pretty clean. We're going to repeat that process on the opposite side. Okay, we're going to again make a series of shallow cuts here. I'm just going to kind of follow along the curvature of the rib cage. All right, again, we want to leave as little meat as possible on the carcass. And see there's a little bit of skin hanging on there, so we're just going to cut that. We're going to work our way forward, folding away as we go, get to that joint. Right through the joint we're going to pass, and now we've got another lovely breast here. So one item to note, we did not remove the wishbone ahead of time. It's a little more trouble than it's worth in my opinion, but there is a little bit of meat there that after you make a stock, you can pick that meat off and include it in a soup. I like to defat or deskin my carcasses because I like to render that skin down for schmaltz. So we'll trim that real quick. Nice fat right there. It's pastured birds, the fat's one of the most beautiful parts of it. So I always remove the pineal gland and discard that because that's what the birds use to apply oil to their feathers. So returning to our Statler breast. So now we've got a whole breast here. with the wing still attached. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the wing flat from the wing drum, spread that out, create a little bit of space, look for the joint. Some folks will give it a little crack like that to really open up that joint, and then pass your knife right through and you've got a nice flat like that. You can remove the wing tip again by passing right through that joint. The wing tips are wonderful for stock. They have a lot of collagen in them, so they will create a really nice viscous stock. So now we've got this lovely breast with the drum still attached. You can, if you want to, French this drum where you scrape the meat down and you've got a very clean bone there. I personally like to leave the meat on the drum. It gets nice and crispy in a hot oven and you get a lovely little bite right there at the end of your meal. The other thing you want to do is you want to just look for excess skin or fat on your breast. You can see there's a big chunk of fat right there. That probably would not have rendered out by the time this breast cooked, but there's a very lovely Statler. And then the last thing is to remove your tender from the underside. The tender will just about pull right off of there, but we'll just give it a little cut to remove that, and we'll set that on our board. We'll repeat the process with this other breast here. Okay, so again, we're going to start, we're going to spread the wing, we're going to cut right through this joint, right? We're going to give it a little pop to make it easier. The less you cut through bones with your knife, the longer your knife will stay sharp. Okay, before we throw this wing on our finished tray here, we're going to take the wing tip off one more time and set our flat right there. All right, just fan out your skin so that you can see where you've got excess. Okay, we got a little bit too much there. We're going to take that off. A little bit too much there. Skin's one of those things that it's better to have more than you need at this stage, because you can always trim it off, but if you don't have enough, you're not going to get any more. Right? And the last thing is just to remove that tender from the breast there. Set that right there. Those are obviously lovely fried. They're also very good grilled. Nice, very quick, easy cooking piece of meat. And we're going to set these breasts right here. And that is our Statler breasts. These are leg quarters, great for the barbecue. Wing flats, save up a bunch of these, make yourself a nice fried chicken meal. We've got our skin here that we'll use to render for schmaltz. And we've got a lovely carcass here that we're going to use to make our chicken stock with.
This video was brought to you by the University of Maine Cooperative Extension Grazing Behavior Lab and the Dr. Matthew Hyland's pilot plant. We would also like to extend a special thanks to the J. Franklin Witter Undergraduate Research Endowment Fund for providing the chicken.